So what you'll notice is we have a Mercruiser MAG MPI 350, the 5.7 liter. It has the separate seawater pump here. This is the impeller that we'll replace today. And if you don't already know about these setups, there's lots of stuff in the way that make this fairly difficult. Fuel line comes in through here, then crosses over in the bottom and goes to the fuel cooler on the other side, making all this kind of hard to get to say the least. So show you a simple way to get this out and get it replaced. So if you've never done it before, first thing to do is get the belt loosened. This bracket actually has a tightener. That's what the center shaft does, and then this bolt locks everything in place. But to get it free, 5/8 inch wrench, and we'll loosen up, get the belt off. So there comes the belt, and we'll just snake it around. I went with the gator back belt that cuts down on squeaking a lot in these boats because the alignment of all the pulleys isn't great. So what you'll see under here is basically two hoses that hook to the back of the impeller assembly. You can either use a long-handled screwdriver to remove these like this, or you can be a cheater like me and remove these with a 5/16 socket on the end of an extender, a bit like this. This is what a lot of people call cheating. And slide these clamps both back and out of the way. Mainly you want to be as far back as you can go because there's a flange back here that flares the hose out and makes it a little bit wider at the rear. Alright, everything's out of the way. Okay, so now that we got the belt out of the way, we can concentrate on this bolt and this bolt as far as removing the bracket. Why I never thought to remove this bracket and pull the pump straight out, I'm not exactly sure. And like I said, that gator back belt helps as far as belt alignment issues. Alright, so I'm going to move the bracket sort of a little bit and kind of wiggle this. The top one came out easy, and there's the bottom one. The other thing that you should pay attention to when you pull this off is make sure you see down there there's no rubber pieces blocking that screen there in front of the transmission cooler. If your water pump completely implodes, there will be pieces of rubber down there, and they will rearrange themselves every time you turn on and turn off the boat, to the point where sometimes it tries to overheat, sometimes it won't. Typically the problem is blockage down there. If you've got stuff down there, get a vacuum and suck all that stuff out. So for my 2000 Mercruiser MAG MPI 350, this is the Sierra 183087, and it replaces 4759362. Alright, so the first thing to get the bracket off, you'll notice there are 3 bolts here. Basically, just loosen these up. All 3 of these have lock washers, and it's always good to note which of the 3 are the long ones. It's pretty simple actually. 1, 2, and 3. Those are the long ones, and you can also confirm it by looking at how your bracket lines up. Alright, bracket is off. Now, removing these bolts. Pretty simple, just unbolt them just like you would anything else. Helps to have an extended socket, that way you can reach up here and back these out, going all the way around. I'll pull these out and then we'll start again on the next step. Alright, I think I've already talked about this, but the easiest way to get this out is to turn it in a clockwise direction as you pull, and it will come out. It's fairly straightforward and simple. The new one, which is actually this one, the way you get it back in is slip it on the shaft, take your pulley, turn it clockwise, start to insert it, and then just keep turning as you're pushing it in. And then once it's all the way in, you're good to go. Now all you gotta do is line up the plate. Alright, so as we talked about before, long one, long one, long one, but the easiest way to put this thing back together, because it's sort of off center in the hole, is start with this one, and you'll notice if you look down in the hole, I don't know if you can really see it, but this one's pretty much lined up where it needs to be. So we're going to put this one in and attempt to start it by hand. And once you get it started, my recommendation is take a screwdriver and drop it in this hole over here. That will help you get it lined up where it needs to be. And now you can take two of the long ones and drop those in the hole, and the short one, and then basically while looking down the hole each time, try to figure out, okay, is this one lined up good? If not, kind of wiggle it one way or the other till you get it lined up. Once you've got two in, all the rest should thread fairly simply. So that's what I'm going to do next. This one needs to move just slightly. To the side. There it goes. And now it's going to thread just fine. See if I can get this one to start. Yep, that one's now threading. This one's now threading. So now it's just a matter of getting everything cranked in where it needs to be. I'm going to get the rest of these in, and then we'll get the bracket on next. If you need to know where the bracket goes, it's pretty simple. You can just look where the paint's missing, and that'll tell you the bracket goes right back like that. So now we'll take each of our washers, lay them on top, and then go around with the nuts, hand tighten everything. And then put our wrench on. There you go. Now our bracket's back on. We're ready to put it back in the boat. Alright, so we have everything in place, ready to go back together, but I noticed when I reviewed the footage that I did see something down in that hole. I think I see a piece of rubber down there. So I'm going to try to grab that with a long-handled pair of needle nose so I can get that out of there. Look at that. There it is. Piece of an old impeller down in the hole, just like I was telling you about. That's what you got to look out for when you replace these. Okay, so not sure what happened to the audio here, but putting the pump back in, you'll notice basically just straight back in. My hand in the back is getting the two hoses aligned to slip into place. Just kind of wiggle it a little bit, and everything should go back in place. And then you see now I'm putting the two bolts in that hold the bracket. It doesn't really allow for any misalignment here. Once you get those in place, the bracket pulley should be exactly where it was when it was taken apart. So hand thread these in to start, obviously, and then once you get them started, get a wrench on them and get them good and tight. Get everything lined up where it needs to be. So next we'll put on the clamps. Obviously I've already slid them in place, and now I'm retightening them with the 5/16 socket. So when you go to put the belt back on, you'll notice their center portion of this shaft is what has, there's a gear on the back of it, and that's what tightens the belt as you turn this direction. Then basically you hold this in place while you use your 5/8 wrench in the background to tighten this nut. And once you get it tight, then you can let off of that and it's not a problem. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it taught you some things and made the process a little bit easier for you.